Meeting of the Board of Trustees of the El Monte Union High School District. Today is June 18, 2025. I call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. Dr. Zuniga, will you please take roll call?
Yes, thank you, Board President. We're going to start with Member Ricardo Padilla.
Here.
Member Qui Win is absent today. Member Dr. Misa Galaviz.
Present.
Member Dr. Luis Guzman.
Present.
Member Florencio Briones.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zuniga. All members are present with the exception of Mr. Nguyen. At this time, legal counsel, if you'll please read us into closed session.
Waiting for my agenda to load. My apologies. I'm going to borrow Alma's.
I think I caught everyone off guard trying to start on time.
Okay, with reference to the published agenda, item 2, subsection A, little a, lowercase a, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1, Public Employment, Director of Fiscal Services. Item B, Government Code Section 54957B1, Public Employment Assistant Principal. Item C, Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Dismissal, Discipline, Release, one matter. Item D, Government Code Section 54957.6, Labor Negotiations for EMUHSD. Item E, under the same Government Code Section, Labor Negotiations for EMUHSD Adult Ed. And item F, under the same Government Code Section, Labor Negotiation for CSEA Chapter 11. And those are the items for closed session this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Legal Counsel. At this time, Dr. Zuniga, are there any public comments for closed session items?
No public comment.
All right, see no public comments. The board will recess into closed session. We will return into open session at 6 p.m. or as close to 6 as possible. Good evening, everyone. It is now 6:44 p.m. and the board is reconvening from closed session. This time, Dr. Zuniga, if you will take roll.
Thank you, Board President. Member Ricardo Padilla.
Here.
Member Qui Win is absent today. Member Dr. Marisa Galaviz.
Present.
Member Dr. Luis Guzman.
Present.
Member Florencio Briones.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zuniga. We have a full complement of the board with the exclusion or the exception of Trustee Nguyen, and we don't currently have a student trustee. They will be sworn in August. All right, at this time, if everyone who is with us tonight is willing and able, please stand for the flag salute. Face the flag, place your right hand over the heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to approval of the agenda, is there a motion to adopt the agenda as submitted?
Move to approve.
Moved by trustee Dr. Galaviz, is there a second?
I second that.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Guzman. All in favor of adopting the agenda as submitted, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, the agenda is approved. Moving on to public comments, we have 2 public comment cards. Before I call up our speakers, I will read our public comment statement. For public comment, each speaker shall have a maximum of 3 minutes. All request forms must be submitted prior to the commencement of the public comment portion of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to address the Board of Trustees on any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Trustees may do so during the public comment portion of the Board of Trustees agenda. However, pursuant to provisions of the Brown Act, Government Code 54950 et seq., the Board of Trustees, except under very specific emergency circumstances, will not be able to act on any matter discussed during the public comment portion of the agenda until such matter is properly placed on a future meeting agenda. The Board of Trustees may direct district staff to investigate and/or schedule certain matters for consideration at a future board meeting. The Board of Trustees cannot respond to specific questions from the public. At this time, I'd like to welcome up Angelica Garcia, Coordinator of Welfare and Attendance from South Amani High School.
Good evening, honorable board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Angelica Garcia, and I have been the Child Welfare and Attendance Coordinator at South Amani High School for over 17 years. I come before you on behalf of our students and parents in the hopes to continue the very passionate conversation from last week's board meeting regarding counselors. During last week's meeting, the LCUP survey results were presented, and 2 things stood out the most. Students and parents are in full support of counselors, and EL students are in need of more resources. At this board meeting, Dr. Guzman made the request to staff to provide the numbers of our EL students, which most likely will be provided today. I just wanted to share those numbers with you as well. South Amani High School is scheduled to serve a total number of 217 EL students for the 25-26 school year. We understand with the declining enrollment, keeping a full-time counselor at South is not feasible, but what about an EL counselor? All we ask is for the same opportunities and resources given to other schools that share similar numbers of EL students and have EL counselors at their sites. Our EL students are a group that represent not just numbers, but real students with real challenges, especially during these difficult times. This is especially true given the political climate and the anxiety and fear that has been brought upon to our community. Our students are facing unique social, academic, and emotional challenges. They deserve the same level of targeted support and advocacy that their peers at other schools are receiving. A dedicated EL counselor at South Amani High School would ensure equity, consistency, and most importantly, an opportunity. This isn't just about fairness, it's also about listening to the voices of our students and our parents. Our students deserve to feel seen and supported. We respectfully urge you to provide South Amani High School with an EL counselor so we can give every student the chance to succeed. Thank you for your time and your consideration today. Me and the rest of the counselors will be available if you have any questions for us today. I appreciate, again, your time.
Next up, Juan Gutierrez, counselor at South Amani High School.
Good evening, members of the board. I speak today with deep concern and urgency on behalf of the students of South Amani High School. The decision not to reinstate our fourth counselor, Ms. Aldana, for the 2025-26 school year will have profound impact on our ability to equitably serve nearly 1,100 students. Without this position, our counselor-to-student ratio will be 366 to 1, the highest in the district. Unlike other schools, South Amani High School does not have an EL-focused counselor, despite approximately 20% of our students being English learners. We also operate the district's only early college academy, requiring intensive multi-year academic planning that counselors like Ms. Aldana helped manage. Eliminating her position means each counselor will take nearly 100 students additionally. This severely limits the support we can provide, not just academically, but emotionally and for college and career planning. If this decision stems from budget constraints, we urge you to prioritize student services. Our students deserve stable, dedicated support, not temporary solutions. Please assign Ms. Aldana as our EL counselor to preserve the equity and care our students count on. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. Are there any additional comment cards?
No other comment cards at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Zuniga. This time, we're moving on to communication from our union representatives. Is there somebody here from EMUHSD or CSEA? Seeing nobody present, we'll move on. Next up is oral and written communication. We'll start with Superintendent Dr. Zuniga.
Yes, just wanted to communicate with the board relative to what we anticipate in August and the calendar. I know we go dark in July, and again, we're preparing for the opening of the 25-26 school year. We're in full mode at summer school. It's been a start where we have had some students not attend summer school. The reality is, and then we look back at the averages of how many students do start off summer school with the enrollment that we had for pre-enrollment for students coming in. Just like the last couple of years, we've seen not all kids show up correctly. But when we personally spoke out to parents and students on Monday, on the first day, we had support staff call personally. We thought that was the best approach to say, hey, we want to have you here at summer school. Is everything okay? Check in. A lot of students and families opted to not come to summer school. It's just a decision that they said we're not interested after all. We did have some families and students express concern about current conditions relative to ICE, and they prefer that they wait out and not attend summer school. So we encourage them. We're also going to take an opportunity to meet with our principals on Friday to look at opportunities to either revisit the 2-day rule. I mean, if you have 2 days that are absent for kids, they get dropped automatically. So we're going to monitor that and look at Friday as an opportunity to say, did any kids come back after 2 days, that we would accept them, and that way they fulfill their summer school, courses in a positive way and get ready for the start of the school year too. So we have personalized that communication. Instead of sending robocalls or any type of communication, we hand selected the individuals that did not show up and called them. And I appreciate all the school staff doing that. I know it's a busy day of the first day, but we were committed to that before summer school started when I met with the principals last week. Nevertheless, every school will vary about the attendance there. We also are providing transportation this summer for South Amani High School students who continue to see that boundary as the largest boundary within the school district because it's so wide. So that provided those students with opportunity to continue getting transportation to South Amani High School. We selected the route that was the furthest and also the most popular. So if students who had the other route, they could still go to one of the stops that the bus would pick them up to as well. So I do want to thank our site administration team for preparing for summer school. It's a little different this year. but we're hopeful that that will end out in a positive way in a couple of weeks. We also had added a couple OPL classes sections that we were able to put in for those families that were concerned initially about current conditions too. Though it is challenging when you already have your staff already, but we were able to accommodate some students into the OPL courses for the same reason too. So that said, I think that moving into August, obviously with the board, we go dark in July. I did send you guys a communication about the potential date for our board retreat. I believe it was the 9th of August. So maybe during roundtable, if you can confirm that for me, so that way we can inform all of our administrators that that would be the day for our board admin retreat. Okay? And just to provide you that we do it before the start of the school year, that was the best case scenario for everyone that participates on that day on Saturday. That's it, President.
Thank you, Dr. Zuniga. I'll bring it up during roundtable, but just to put it on your radar right now, for the Friday memo, your Friday memo, can you include attendance data for the first week of summer school?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
If you could include attendance data for the first week of summer school
Sure.
in your Friday memo.
Yeah, we'll do that on Friday.
Thank you. Moving on to the Board of Trustees, I'll start with Trustee Padilla. And a reminder, if we could keep our comments to 5 minutes.
Right. I'm going to take as long as I need to speak to my constituents. So just so you know,
Just 5 minutes, sir.
I will take as long as I need to report to my constituents. So one thing I have is I'm very disappointed with the city of El Monte. I think it was pretty chicken shit of the city of El Monte to get a call from LACO that they wanted to do Know Your Rights workshops in our city, and the city declined. I think that that's a lack of leadership. It makes me very angry that they would not stand behind the people and the constituents of this city. So I just want to publicly go out there and let the community know that this city council lacks leadership and courage and integrity to stand with our people, especially during the times that we're going through right now. I'm going to leave it at that.
Does that conclude your comments?
I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you. Trustee Dr. Galaviz.
Good evening. Just two quick things. I want to say thank you to Dr. Zuniga and to Ms. Torres for all the communication that we received, like leading up to summer school. They were very detailed and lengthy, and then some of the school sites too put out a few parent squares, and I just really appreciate all that communication home to parents and kind of trying to bring down that effective filter of our families and students and making sure that we have protocols in place to support our students coming to school. The other thing that I want to share out, we only had a meeting like a week ago, so there's not too much to share, but this past Saturday, I was driving to go get my car washed, and unfortunately, with everything going on, right, that's not happening right now. People are scared to go to work, and it's really, it was really sad. Like, I pulled up and I started crying, and I was like, this is awful, this time that we're in. It did make me feel a little bit better when I drove past City Hall later on that night, and I did see a lot of people in our community out there protesting, so I do appreciate all our community members who are out there protesting and, fighting the good fight right now. Secondly, though, on my way to the car wash, I drove past Arroyo High School, and there were all these cars, and I'm like, what's happening at Arroyo High School? So I made a U-turn into the Arroyo High School parking lot, and the football players were out there, and they were like, $5, please, and I'm like, well, I want to know what's happening, so here's my $5. And there was this amazing tournament happening. So I stayed for a little bit just for fun. I had no intention of going, but there were so many sites there, so shout out to Mr. Singheiser and his team. Parents at like 7:30 in the morning, the place was packed everywhere outside. The parking lot, like the visitors' parking lot was full. Our parking lot inside was full. I texted my dad and I was like, hey, there's this like really cool thing happening at Arroyo. He ended up coming down too, but it was really neat to see how many schools he gets to participate in this event. I saw at least like 15 different schools, and I'm sure there were quite a bit more. So I just really want to say like kudos to him and his team for putting that together. And I'm happy that Coach Singheiser is back doing what we know he's good at. And so Good job to the Royal football team and the community for putting on such a great event.
Does that conclude your comments?
Yes.
Thank you, Trustee Dr. Galaviz. Moving on to Trustee Dr. Guzman.
No announcements for me, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guzman. And I just have one item that I want to share. Earlier today, the U.S. Supreme Court released their ruling on the U.S. versus Skermeti case. The Supreme Court has failed to protect our families' freedoms and allowed politicians targeting of transgender youth's healthcare needs to stand. This is a very painful setback, but the court left us with other tools to fight back against the political extremists targeting transgender people's safety and dignity. Although this is a devastating moment for transgender youth, their parents, and their doctors across the country, because the court is allowing these bans to continue to wreak havoc on the lives of these families and endanger the well-being of transgender adolescents. These bans have already uprooted families and communities across the country, and the risk of further harm in light of this court's ruling is devastating. Importantly, however, this does not change the law in states that have not passed bans on this care. But we know politicians across the country will continue to be devoted to driving transgender people out of public life and ending their access to the health care they need. We will continue to fight for our freedom to be ourselves and our equal right to self-determination under the law. What's important to remember is that no matter what the court or politicians say, transgender young people and their families are not alone in this fight. We will continue to fight in courtrooms and communities across the country to ensure all people, including transgender individuals, have the freedom to shape their own futures. This is a devastating loss, but we still have powerful tools to fight back against the Trump administration's attack on transgender people. There is still a strong body of precedent showing that attacks targeting a minority group based on animus do indeed violate the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, or the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. As President Trump continues to target transgender people purely motivated by animus and cruelty, we will continue to fight back. The Skermeti ruling has nothing to do with the president's unlawful exercise of power, and our arguments against this abuse of power remain strong. Though this is a devastating loss, it does not mean that we do not have tools to fight back against the Trump administration. The cases that say it violates equal protection to target a disfavored minority based on animus still apply. That is precisely what Trump is doing, and this decision has no impact on the president's unlawful exercise of power, and those arguments remain. And that concludes my remarks tonight. Moving on to Section D, information presentation. Item number 1, presentation on the El Monte Union High School District local indicators. I'd like to invite up Edith Echeverria. And I don't know, Dr. Zuniga, if you have any comments you'd like to make, otherwise we can get started with the presentation.
No, we're ready to go.
Good evening. How lucky am I to be able to present 2 weeks in a row? At least it's a little earlier, so thank you. Today I get to present on local indicators, and I'm going to start with a little review from last week. Last week I presented the fact that the state has identified 8 state priorities that must be addressed in the LCAP, and today we will focus on the indicators or the accountability portion on how the implementation of those indicators are measured. So there's 11 different indicators. 5 are state, actually 6 are state, 5 are local. For state indicators, you're probably familiar with those gauges. I like to refer to them as like the speedometer. They're color-coded. Those are released from the state, and they're released through the data that's submitted through CalPADS. They're used to provide data district-wide, comparing schools and districts. Local indicators are self-reported. So we report that data, we use the tools that CDE provides, and then the state will release if we've met, not met, or not met these indicators for 2 or more years. So what I've added this year, if you're familiar with my presentations, this is new, I wanted you to have a visual of the 8 state priorities and how they're being measured. So for the first priority, it's through a local indicator. Second priority, local indicator. Third priority, local indicator. Priorities 4, 5, and 6 are through state indicators, which means you'll see them on the dashboard as a gauge with a different color. Then you have 2 more local indicators and 1 more state indicator. So today the presentation will focus primarily on those 5 local indicators. This is what our dashboard, the most recent dashboard, looks like. So you can see the 6, well, there's actually 5 indicators, but because the academic is broken down to ELA and math, that's why there's 6. And then you see that with our latest local measures, local indicators, they all say standards met. So that's what we always strive to ensure, that we're meeting all standards with all of our local indicators. So with the first local indicator, it's based on basic services. We have to report, do all of our students have textbooks? Yes. Are our facilities adequate? Yes, and this is based on our SARC, our School Accountability Report Cards. All of our 7 schools, including community day school, state that their overall rating is over 90%. And then teacher misassignments, last year we had 14. This year we have 8, so that's good. Implementation of state standards. I work with the Director of Curriculum and Instruction to complete this form. He actually completes the form for us, identifying where we are as far as implementation of state standards, not just implementation of material, but also providing professional learning opportunities for our staff district-wide. And so if you see the highest, the full implementation with sustainability is a 5, which is most areas. There's a 4 in instructional policies and programs, because we're far more advanced in the math area than in all areas. With priority 3, when we talk about parent and family engagement, it's also full implementation and sustainability, with the exception of the first one. And with the first one, building relationship, we do a good job of welcoming parents, of connecting with parents. We have to provide more professional learning when it comes to working with our teaching staff. So that's our goal in that area. With school climate, we have to provide data on survey results in reference to school safety and connectedness. So this is our students' perception on school safety for the past 3 years, including, I think it was in February of this year. So it's slightly been going down, so up, I should say, and that's a good thing. Kids feel more safe when they come to school. As far as connectedness, there's a slight decrease, but I can tell you that last year, the question asked, do you feel engaged and connected to school? And that's why it was an 88.8. This year, I separated that. See, I keep changing it. When I looked at engaged, it was at 88.6, so it stayed relevant, but the connectedness portion is at 82.2. So there's a little discrepancy, but I think at the end of the day, our kids primarily, the majority still feel engaged and connected.
And Edith, if I may really quick, I appreciate that clarity, because that was going to be one of my questions. Like, we saw this 11-point increase, and then we saw a 5.6% decrease, or point decrease, and it stood out to me. And I'm glad that you provided that context, because if you're just sharing raw data, it's concerning. But when you put it into context, it makes a lot of sense, because those are 2 different data points now. And that's really key, because data by itself is meaningless unless you provide context.
Right.
So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Can you repeat the 82 is connectedness, and then 88 was what?
So last year, the question actually combined, do you feel engaged and connected?
Engaged.
And so that percent was 88.6. So when I separated, well, this year it was 88.6. Let me refocus here. Last year they were both one question, and the results were 88.8. This year I had 2 separate questions. So the question on connectedness was 82.2, but the question on engaged was 88.6. So it's still pretty relevant. Yeah. And then priority 7 focuses on a broad course of study. Yes, all of our students have access to a broad course of study that includes CTE program, general courses that allow them to complete graduation requirements, AP courses, all of that is a broad course of study. We have to identify specific, if there's any barriers that might impede our kids from meeting graduation requirements. And the only thing that we usually encounter is when we have kids that arrive, newcomers that might arrive as sophomores or juniors from their native country, sometimes with not a full transcript. or we can't identify what classes were taken, so they are missing a lot of credits, and we look at those students on an individual basis, and some might require a fifth year to meet those graduation requirements. So that's the only barrier that we've encountered. And what's next? So part of the process is we still have to go onto the dashboard and input the information and certify it once it's presented to the board. We will wait till November when the board releases the dashboard to see how they identify the status of each of these local indicators. Based on the prior history and the current data, it should be continue to say standards met for each of the 5 local indicators. That's it. Did you have any questions tonight?
Thank you, Edith. Questions from the board? I'll start with Mr. Padilla.
What about English learner progress?
Can you turn on your mic?
Can you talk a little about English learner progress? And the reason that I say that is, our English language arts dashboard always includes, the English language learners. But then when you separate the English learner progress, this is district-wide, right?
You're looking at the dashboard?
Yeah, the dashboard on page, let me see, 1, 2, the third page of the paper presentation. There you go,
This
right there.
dashboard, yes.
So do you have these by site?
I didn't print them by site.
You didn't?
No, this was
Okay.
the overall district.
It would be good because, like I know tonight we're going to have a good discussion on English language learner counselors. So is there any way that it can get pulled so we could see that for each high school?
Well, I can pull it from the computer if that's the request of the board.
Yeah, go for it.
You guys want to see a breakdown by site?
I would like to see it by site because I get it that this is like the whole district, but what is it for Arroyo? What is it for El Monte? What is it for South El Monte? Because I know it kind of gets hidden, but
So just to clarify, do we want to know how many ELs, like in the email we received the other day?
well, one thing is the number of English language learners that we have, but another thing is their progress. So
Okay.
if this is the dashboard that shows the progress of our English language learner, it goes to the point of trying to create equity across our schools. So not numbers, but progress.
Is there a consensus from the board to view the breakdown by site?
Well, I don't think this isn't a required consensus. I think we just want to see it. It's
Well,
not a,
I'm just polling the rest of the board to see if people want to see a breakdown.
Sure.
I'm okay seeing a breakdown if you want to bring that up.
I said, I apologize, I ran through it because I just wanted to show you the list as requested. If you need me to go back and show you how I got here, I can do that as well. But when I go to the district webs or the district dashboard, it'll give me district, and then I just put all schools. And so when you look at all schools, this is what the dashboard looks like for
so if
Arroyo.
we're looking at Arroyo, right, we know that blue is the highest, green is the second, yellow's in the middle, orange is, not so great, and red is, horrible. So when we look at Arroyo's English language learner progress, my eyes fail me, but I think they're in the orange.
Yes, it says orange.
Okay, so orange, got it. So not that great. So then we look at El Monte High School. They have an English language learner counselor, and they're at is that green?
That was green.
Okay.
That
And
was
then-
prior to them having a counselor, though.
Okay, right, prior to them having a counselor, okay.
And I know that Desma is orange, Mountain View is orange, Rosemead is yellow, and South is red.
And what is it?
Red.
Red. So they're not doing that great, right? English language learner progress at South Almani is the worst?
That year, yes.
I'm sorry?
That school year, yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's Mount View High School. I believe they're below 123.6. South Almani right now is 105 from these scores that are gathered.
So I think to clarify, remember the gauge represents change and status. So if you want to know the percent of students that were actually making progress, you would have to click on each individual item. Let's say and I'm going to have to go to each school, I think. So when I look at Arroyo, the LP, they declined, but 37.5% of their ELs made progress. So it's 37.5. Okay, then I have to go to each school, actually.
Because again, it's not just a straight performance indicator, it's what changes have happened.
Yes.
If they're stagnant, they can still be in the yellow or orange. They may have increased, but not significant enough to move into from blue to green.
Right.
Correct.
If they show large gains, but even though they're still performing poorly or below average, it would be in the green because they've made significant gains, or at least in the blue.
Yeah, but if they're still way below state average, it might still be orange.
Right.
So it depends on the
Right.
status and then the change.
So for Arroyo, let's pick Arroyo, right? They're in the orange. Not only did they not maintain, they declined.
They declined, but their progress, only 37.5% of their ELs made progress. And by making progress, it means on the LPAC, they're moving a level, or they're maintaining a level of a 4, which is the highest level. So that's what they mean by making progress. When you look at Almani, they made significant progress, 9.7%, and they have a total of 50.7% of students making progress. That's why they were green. When you look at Fernando Ledesma, they only had 14.9% of their student make progress, although they did have an increase. That's why they're in orange. Rosemead High School, and I'm not writing these down, so I hope someone is. So Rosemead High School was 48.3. They maintained, per se. They went down less than 1%, so it's considered maintaining. That's why they're yellow. Then you go to South Almani High School. They were at 32%, and they declined 7.4.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Dr. Guzman, nothing? Dr. Galaviz? I have no questions either. Thank you, Edith, for your presentation.
If I may, just add a point, the EL counselor conversation came up. It's important to note that the data that was used to make that decision when that LCAP was approved was prior year's data. So it doesn't directly align with that initial decision.
Thank you for that context. Okay, that concludes information presentations. Moving on to our consent agenda. Items on consent are routine in nature and are all approved by a single motion and vote. At this time, are there any items that a member would like to hold for discussion? Trustee Padilla? None. Trustee Dr. Galaviz?
None.
None from Trustee Galaviz. Trustee Dr. Guzman?
None.
None from Trustee Guzman. This time it would be appropriate to accept a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Move to approve consent agenda?
Moved by Trustee Padilla. Is there a second?
I second that.
Seconded by Trustee Dr. Guzman. There's no discussion. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved by a vote of 4-0 with Trustee Nguyen being absent. Moving on to our regular agenda. Item number 1, consider approval of estimated actuals for the 2024-2025 fiscal year and approval of the proposed budget for 2025-2026. Is there a motion to approve this item?
I move to approve.
Moved by trustee Dr. Galaviz. Is there a second?
I second that.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Guzman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting or approving item number 1, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 1 is approved by a vote of 4-0 with trustee Nguyen being absent. Item number 2, consider approval of the 2025-2026 El Monte Union High School District Local Control and Accountability Plan, or LCAP. Is there a motion to approve item number 2? I move to approve item number 2. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Galaviz. Any discussion?
Discussion.
Mr. Padilla, go ahead.
Yes. Before I will make a decision on the local control accountability plan, I want to once again state my position that we must find the dollars to fund an EL counselor at South Del Monte High School. I know that we have people from South Del Monte High School, which is my district, District 5, and we also had Edith Echeverria come and show us the surveys of what it is that people want. The parents want support for English language learners. The students want support for English language learners. So we cannot sit here as educators or leaders of this district and say that we make data-driven decisions. You know, if that is what our parents want and they're asking us to do that, then we need to empower their voice, because that's how parents get discouraged and they start participating. Considering the climate that we have against immigrants, which are English language learners as well, and myself being an English language learner, I don't think I ever got reclassified. I think I'm still an English language learner, or LTEL, I should say. I'm not okay with just approving that as it is. I told you I would leave no stone unturned. I brought forward some suggestions. I talked about, cutting an administrator, like the principal, who is the principal to all the counselors. I'll say it again and I'll double down. They are the ones that do the work. It is a position that we can look to cut or alter or have positions shared with multiple districts, but the counselors do the work. The counselors have been doing the work even before we had, comprehensive student support coordinators. I brought that position to this district even before we brought wellness coordinators, the EL TOSAs, all of those things. We didn't have a lot of those things. It all fell on the counselors. And so now I will speak up for them, because they need to be heard. The work that they do is, and I get it that sometimes we say, in education we also do this, and I'm critical of this. Oh, this is my 33rd year. I'm going to start my 34th. We say things like, oh, we don't do equity. We don't do equality. We do equity. And we see the pictures of the little kids with the box, standing on top of the box, looking at the baseball game. Okay, that picture is very important, because we should give schools what they need, not just because that's how we do it across the board. If we truly, want to talk about equity, and we have to put our money where our mouth is. I know these are hard times, but who generates all the dollars of the LCAP? It's foster youth and homeless. It's our homeless kids. It's English language learners. It's students on free and reduced lunch. So we need to spend that money on them. And the LCAPs all suck, because they all have a cookie cutter approach. And this is across the state. All students will get this. All students will get that. All students will get this. Well, very rarely do I see that English language learners get extra stuff as they are owed based on the funding that we get from the state. They should get extra stuff to even out the playing field in terms of support. An English language learner counselor or an EL counselor, that's going to give those 217 South Del Monte high schools that support. Another thing that I said is looking to see what the counselor for opportunities for, I always forget this program next door right here. What is it? OPL. Okay, I also talked, I was very critical. And Edith kind of said, oh, they see thousands of kids, and I just heard her out, but I wasn't too convinced by that. you know, the counselors at the site, they see these kids daily. You know, they're there, they show up. And to me, we owe it to those kids because they're the generators of these dollars. So those were two things that I did. But I didn't stop there. You know, I also went and I spoke to the leadership in the city of South Del Monte. And, you know, we pay a full SRO at that school, a school resource officer. We pay the full bill. Is that correct, Dr. Zuniga?
For the city of South El Monte, yes. Well,
Yes. And
for
we
South El
pay,
Monte High School, let me
I'm
correct
sorry?
that. Let me correct that. For the South El Monte High School SRO, yes.
Yeah, South Del Monte High School, yes. And that bill or the price for that SRO is $247,842. And I'm not trying to cut that. I'll be really quick to tell you that because that speaks to the safety of our children. That to me is even more powerful than curriculum and instruction because that's what parents expect from us to keep their children safe. But $247,842. So what did I do? I kind of went and spoke to their leadership and said, hey, we are trying to save a position over here at South Del Monte High School. And we were wondering, or I was wondering, if we would entertain of giving us half of the money beginning next year and moving forward to pay for half of the school resource officer position at South Del Monte. And they were favorable to that. So if you divide $247,842 and divide by 2, that's $123,921 that we're going to free up. What do I mean by free up? The city of South Del Monte, the leadership, is willing to pay for half of the SRO to show their commitment to the safety of students at South Del Monte High School. So then what I did was I found out, well, how much is an EL counselor? How much is the EL counselor costing us at Mountain View High School? And how much is the EL counselor costing us at El Monte High School? So at Mountain View High School, an EL counselor is costing us $179,842. So I took that number and then I subtracted it from $123,921 because we're no longer going to be paying that half. Our district is not going to be able to pay that half, or we're not. It's going to free it up because South Del Monte is going to pay the other half of the SRO. So if that's going to help us free up $123,921, and the Mountain View High School position is $179,843, we just have to find $55,922, you know, to have that position. But I didn't stop there. I said, well, how much is the position for EL counselor at El Monte High School? At El Monte High School, it's $142,023. So I subtracted the $123,921, and we would have to find $18,102. Tonight, I would like to move, or you know what? No, I checked that. I know we have a first and a second, but I would like to make a subsequent motion to approve tonight's local control and accountability plan with the addition of saving the English language learner counselor at South Del Monte by looking into these dollars that the city of South Del Monte is going to give us, or not give us, but the half that they're going to pay for the school resource officers. So we would pay $123,921. They would pay the other $123,921. That would then free up half of that SRO money that we were paying for Mel Monte Union High School District to save this position. So that would be my subsequent motion to approve the LCAP with those things that I just said, to direct our CBO to look into that and make this all work to again, amplify and value the voices of parents and students at South El Monte High School, as they stated on the survey that was done by Ms. Echeverria of what it is they want for their kids and their community. And I know that Dr. Laura Riva stated that, this data is a year long. Trust me, I've been in this game just as you have for a very long time. It's not going to go from red to orange like overnight. And even if it goes to orange, it's still horrible. There's still support that is needed there. So I get it that you made that point, but I'm going to fire back at you that progress for English language learners doesn't happen that quick or not in a year. And how do I know that? I know that from experience. I'm an English language learner myself, and so I've looked at this dashboard, for a number of years since it came out. So again, your point was taken that this is data that was a year old, but I'm sure if we tell Edith, go back and get the year before's, I guarantee you, I can put my paycheck on it. It's going to be the same thing. So that's my subsequent motion, Mr. Briones. I'm not okay to approve the LCAP as is. And so since there is a subsequent motion, you must take my subsequent motion first before you take the initial motion.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion from the board?
Yes, I just had a comment. Based on the numbers provided by Dr. Zuniga and Dr. Rivas on the EL projected and current, I see that Rosemead is in a comparable position with the similar numbers. And I think it's important to also talk about our Asian American Pacific Islander community and students. And so if there's a discussion of having an EL counselor for South El Monte, by the same rationale, if we are data-driven, then by the same rationale, we should also have a Rosemead High School EL counselor, especially given that Rosemead High School is projected to have an increase in student enrollment, including EL student enrollment. And so it's not just one counselor position that my colleague is asking to be funded. It's two. And given the very difficult financial position that we find ourselves in, particularly due to the last 2 years of financial mismanagement, I don't know if it's prudent to continue to deficit spend, given that it's not just one position, it's multiple positions, if we are going to be data-driven.
Any further comments from the board? Okay, seeing that there's a subsequent motion on the table, is there a second to that motion? Seeing none, the motion fails. We'll go back to the original motion to approve the LCAP as submitted. The item has been moved and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving the 2025-26 LCAP, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
The item passes by a vote of 3-1 with Trustee Nguyen being absent. Moving on to item number 3, consider approval of the 2025-2026 Fiscal Stabilization Plan and adoption of resolution number 44-24/25. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Move to approve.
Moved by Trustee Dr. Galaviz. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Trustee Dr. Guzman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving item number 3, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 3 is approved by a vote of 4-0 with Trustee Nguyen being absent. Item number 4, consider approval of the notice of completion for the roof replacement at Arroyo High School and El Monte High School project bid number 2024-25B6. Is there a motion to approve this item?
I make the motion to approve.
Moved by Trustee Dr. Guzman. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Trustee Dr. Galaviz. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving item number 4, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 4 is approved by a vote of 4-0 with Trustee Nguyen being absent. Item number 5, consider award of informal bid number 2024-25B11, El Monte High School Small Gymnasium Interior Painting Project to Perfection Painting Corporation. Is there a motion to approve this item?
Move to approve.
Moved by trustee Dr. Galaviz. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Guzman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving item number 5, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nope.
Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 5 is approved by a vote of 4-0, with trustee Nguyen being absent. Item number 6, consider approval of Christy White for multi-year agreement for bond auditing services. Is there a motion to approve this item? I will move to approve this item. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Galaviz. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving item number 6, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 6 is approved by a vote of 4-0, with trustee Nguyen being absent. Item number 7, consider approval of resolution number 45-24/25, uncommitting funds intended to meet financial obligations and maintaining fiscal solvency. Is there a motion to approve this item?
I motion to approve.
Moved by trustee Dr. Guzman. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Galaviz. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving item number 7, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 7 is approved by a 4-0 vote, with trustee Nguyen being absent. Item number 8, consider approval for service contract between Evaluation Management Training, or EMT Associates Incorporated, and the El Monte Union High School District for training services. Is there a motion to approve this item?
I motion to approve.
Moved by trustee Dr. Guzman. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by trustee Dr. Galaviz. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving item number 8, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, item number 8 is approved by a vote of 4-0, with trustee Nguyen being absent. That concludes our regular agenda. Moving on to roundtable and closure of meeting. Item number 1, topic or issues to be brought forward for future agenda items. I'll start tonight with Dr. Zuniga.
I just wanted to confirm August 9th, if that worked for all you guys. I know that, it's 2 months ahead, but some people do have plans. I want to make sure I get that date down. It's okay.
August 9th works for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That works.
How about Mr. Padilla?
Mr. Padilla?
I don't have my calendar, so.
Okay.
It's okay if it works for everybody.
You just want to confirm with me maybe down the road, and
Yeah.
maybe Friday I can update everybody. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Is that all your items, Dr. Zuniga? Is that, okay, thank you.
No more. Thank you.
Moving on to trustee Padilla.
I have no items.
No items for trustee Padilla. Dr. Galaviz?
No items.
No items. Dr. Guzman?
No items. No items.
No items from Dr. Guzman. The only item I have is just what I asked for earlier, the summer school attendance data. That was it.
Actually, sorry, can I backtrack?
Very, very quickly, please.
Sorry, it'll be very quickly. Just a request to executive cabinet to continue strategic planning in preparation not only for next school year, but for summer, for our safety of our families, including at our campuses, and any other related measures that we might need to take come August, including during the enrollment period.
Got it. Just to clarify on just the initiative and plans for reopening of the school, including summer
Right.
school, with safety measures in place given the
Safety measures.
circumstances that we're dealing with.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to closed session. The board will not reconvene into closed session, as we covered all items. Item number 3, report out from closed session. Mr. Legal Counsel, if you'd like to report out from closed session.
Mr. President, with reference to the published agenda, section A2, item subsection A, with 3-1 votes, Mr. Padilla opposed, the board appointed Edith Echeverria to the position of Director of Fiscal Services. Items B, C, D, E, and F, the board received information, no final action was taken, and that concludes the readout from closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Legal Counsel. Before I move on, I do want to say thank you to Mr. Norton, who is still with us today, who will be with us through a portion of July, you said? Or end of June? July, okay. Thank you. And I want to congratulate Edith Echeverria on being selected as our next Director of Fiscal Services. Look forward to continuing to work with you. Okay, that concludes the report out from closed session. At this time, members, if there's no objection, I'd like to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Sylvia Carranza, mother of Mountain View School District Board Clerk Adam Carranza, who passed away yesterday. If there's no objection, we are adjourned at 7:39 p.m. Good night, everyone.